First of all, I have my sister my heart like flowers thousands and thousands of times at the lotus feet of my Holy Master, my supremely worshipable spiritual Gurudev, Asmadev Paramarata Tumaguru Parapadman, Nitya Leela Pradishnapo Vishwar, Ashto Tarasabhisismat, Rupanangacharya Varya, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami. Secondly, I have my pranam thousands of times to the lotus feet of my Param Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, and all of our Sri Rupananda Gaudiya Guru. And finally, I have my pranam to all the Sample Vaishnavas.
Shiva Gurudev ki
by the causes of Sri Guranga Varanga, we are hearing from Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Srila Rupa Goswami. So, this morning, we discussed how Sri Rupa Goswami has given the definition of Prem. And how it has Swarup Lakshana, intrinsic characteristic, and two marginal characteristics, Tatastha Lakshana. So what was the Swarup Lakshana of Prem? Lalita Priya. No answer. Alas. Who will tell what is the Swarup Lakshana of Prem?
Baba sa Eva Sandratma.
Yes, you heard Swami.
No.
So, Bhava sa Eva Sandratma, that it's Bhav, but when it becomes very condensed. So what has been described about Bhav, Shuddha-sattva Visheshatma, and Ruchi Vischitavasanya, so it is this Bhav very condensed. And it's, what are the two Tatastha Lakshana or marginal characteristics? Someone will tell? Raise your hand. Samyam Basrinita Santam. That now the heart was softened before, now it's completely soft, completely melted. And Mamatvat Shankitaha, it is imbued with excessive feelings of possessiveness for Krishna. So now, Srila Rupa Goswami is describing that this Prem has two types. That which arises from Bhav. The devotee in the stage of Bhav is hearing, chanting, and remembering. Gradually, the Bhav becomes condensed and he attains Prem. Then the other type is a Prem just arising from the Supreme Lord's great mercy. So, because sadhana is of two types, therefore the Prem which comes from Bhav is also of two types. One coming from the Bhav which came from the practice of Vaidhi sadhana, and one Prem coming from the Bhav which came from the practice of Rajanuga sadhana. So, Sri Rupa Goswami is giving example from Prema-Bhakti, 11th canto, of the love arising from the Bhav that was achieved through Vaidhi Bhakti. So that is called Vaidha Bhav. Vaidha Bhav. Vaidhi Bhakti, because Bhakti is feminine, but Bhav is masculine, so it's Vaidha Bhav. Vaidha Bhav. Evam Prataswa Priyanama Kirtya Jatanuro Go Druta Chitta Uschay Hasasati Roti Radikaya. So, Evam Prataswa Priyanama Kirtya. It means the devotee who Evam Prata, who's following vows in this particular way. Swapriyanama Kirtya, by chanting Swapriyanam, the names of the Supreme Lord, which are very deities. Then Jatanurago Drunta Chitta, his chitta melts with Jat Anurag, with intense the eagerness. Sometimes he begins to laugh. Sometimes he's crying. Sometimes he calls out loudly. Sometimes he sings. Sometimes he's like a mad person dancing. And he has no awareness of what's going around him. It's also translated sometimes indifference to the public opinion. What? He's not aware of what is going on. So we see that Prahlad Maharaj, he had Prem that was from the Vaidya Bhava. And he has that, of course he's eternal associate, but he has that past. So, Prahlad Maharaj, he used to sit with tears streaming from his eyes. And his hair standing on end, feeling the touch of the Lord. If some ordinary person is nearby and watching him, they'll just see him shivering and hair standing and tears coming. But he's experiencing that Krishna is actually coming and caressing. Then sometimes he just bursts out crying and shouting loudly. Why? Because Krishna disappeared. After some time, then he begins to smile and laugh and dance. Because he saw Krishna in the distance. And he said, "Oh, why are you crying? I am over here." And then he jumps up and starts dancing. So if anyone is looking for dance and they think that this person is mad, but they're experiencing interaction with Krishna in different ways. And so, sometimes laughing, crying, shouting, dancing. So, in this verse, the word evam brata, indicating performing a vow, evam in this way. That is a reference to the previous verse. In the previous verse it is said, Srinvan Subhadrani Rathangapane Janmani Karmani Chayani Loke Namani Gitani Tadatakani Gayan Vilajya Vicharet Asangaha. The devotee, Srinvan Subhadrani Ratangapa, is engaged in hearing the Subhadrani, very, very auspicious, Janmani Karmani, about the births, about the activities of the Supreme Lord who is known as Ratangapani. Ratangapani means whose Ratanga, that means the limb of a chariot, so that refers to wheel. So Krishna's name is Ratangapani, who carries the wheel. So it means different things. For example, when Duryodhana criticized Bhishma Deva, he said, "Oh, you are being crooked. you are fighting on my side, but really you are on the side of the Pandavas. Because you are so powerful. If you were actually fighting with your full strength, all the Pandavas would already be dead by now. So being criticized in this way, that Bhishmadev was not doing his dharma of fighting properly. So then he said, alright, tomorrow I will finish the Pandavas. Yeah? But the thing is, he knows that Krishna will not allow him to do it. But Krishna, he said, I will finish them unless Krishna will take up his weapon. So that was the vow of Bhishmadev. And Krishna had taken a vow, I will not take up a weapon in this battle. So now, it was the vow of Bhishmadev in conflict with the vow of Krishna. Whose vow will stand? So the next day they were fighting. And Bhishmadev was overpowering Arjun with his arrows. Arjun's chariot got stuck in the mud. And the wheel was broken. And it was a very critical situation. Arjun was about to be killed. But Bhishmadev knew Krishna would not allow it. So he was fighting with all of his strength. And Krishna, he jumped down from the chariot. And he took the broken wheel of the chariot. And he ran towards Bhishmadev to kill him with the broken wheel. Bhishmadev, when he was about to leave this world, he said, I remember Krishna like a young lion running at me with the wheel in his hand. His upper cloth was falling off. Arjun was running behind him and trying to tackle him and stop him from breaking his vow. Arjun was thinking, it's better that I die than he breaks his vow. But it was too late. Krishna had already taken up the broken his vow. And as Krishna was running to kill him, Bhishmadev was very happy. He put down his weapons. He was ready, okay, kill me. But just then, that very moment the sun was setting, so those who announced the end of the day's battle, they blew the conches. Because everyone stopped fighting. So then Krishna put down the wheel. And Bhishmadev was victorious. So this is why in Bhagavad Gita Krishna said, Kauntaya Patijanai Name Bhakta Prayanasati. Oh Arjun, you should boldly declare that my devotee is never vanquished. Krishna himself could have said, my devotee is never vanquished. But who will believe him? Because it's known that Krishna from time to time he breaks his vows. But Krishna always makes the vows of the devotee true. So he told Arjun, you declare this fact. Then everyone will believe it.
делать все возможное, чтобы всегда сдержать слово своих преданных. Поэтому он просит Арджуну объявить это миру.
So, Krishna's called to Ratangapani, who carries the wheel. Or he's called Ratangapani, who has a chakra. Chakra is also one wheel. So in his Dwarka Lila, he killed so many demons with chakra. Like Shishupal. Or he shaved off the 1,000 arms of Banasur. Or Ratangapani can also mean Krishna in Vrindavan. Because just as Krishna has auspicious lines upon his lotus feet, he also has auspicious lines, marks on his lotus hands, and one of the marks is a chakra, wheel. So when Akrura came to Braj, he fell at the feet of Krishna. He was thinking, oh, Kamsa Maharaj has sent me to bring Krishna to Mathura to kill him. But I'm sure Krishna, he will know my heart, that I'm not really the servant of Kamsa, I'm his servant. But what will happen when Krishna gets to Mathura? And Kamsa has so many plans to destroy him. So then after giving pranam, Akrura looked up and Krishna was reaching down to him like this. Then Akrura saw the answer to his question, the chakra on Krishna's hand. Oh, Akrura, don't worry, I'll kill everyone. So, and there are also many rasic meanings, Chakrapani, related to Krishna and gopis of Vrindavan. So, Sriman, Subhadrani, Rathangapane, Janmani, Karmani, Chayani Loke, means the person is hearing about Krishna's birth and activities. And Chayani Loke means you can hear in your own vernacular language. It doesn't have to be in Sanskrit, you can hear in Russian, in the Spanish, in Hindi. It's still powerful. Because Krishna is neither revealed or concealed by any language. But the fragrance of his lotus feet is there in the sound of the realized speaker. Gitani Namani Chayani Tadatakani, and the devotee is singing his names. And Tadatakani, discussing the meanings of his names and pastimes. Jayan Vilajja Vichared Asanga. In this way, the devotee should wander throughout the world without attachment to anything or anyone. And give up all the shyness, embarrassment or hesitation. Now they have big problems. The Sudarshan Chakra has come. It's just going to that now. So, the person who has made a vow to live their life in this way, then for them, they made this vrat to live their life in this way. Then for them, their heart is melted by chanting the holy names, and they attain Prem, wherein they're laughing, crying, weeping, dancing, roaring. So this is Prem arising from Vaidabhav. Why does Rupa Goswami say that? So we look at the symptoms in the verse. First, vrat is when a person makes a vow, I don't do these certain things. So this is a vidhi, like a rule. It is not mentioned about following internal moods of some internal associates. So the word vrata indicates Vaidabhav Prem. Then, through the chitta, the melting of the heart, Jatanurag, with a very intense eagerness, indicates Samyam Vasanita Santo, this melting of the heart aspect of Prem. And Swapriyana, those names which are very dear to him, indicates Mamatvat Shankitaha Mamata, because he has possessiveness for the Lord in particular names, particular form. Now he's giving an example of Raganubhya Bhav Utta Prem, the Prem that comes from Raganubhya Bhav. So in the Padma Purana, there is the history of a woman named Chandrakanti. So she observed continuous celibacy. And she continuously meditated on the form of Krishna, thinking one should not desire anyone else as their husband. So she's absorbed in a particular sambandha. He is my husband. And no one else. I have relation with no one else. This shows Ananya Mamata Vishnu, Mamata Prema Sangata, that one-pointed possessiveness. She sang songs about Krishna with her hair standing on end and developed complete affection for Krishna by hearing stories about him. Now, Prem arising from the Ati Prasadutta Prem, that means from excessive mercy. So this means that the Lord gives His personal association to someone, and by that association they become filled with Prem. So this generally occurs actually during Krishna's, any incarnation of the Lord, He comes into this world, and during that time He meets with persons, and they may not have done sadhana in that life, but just meeting with Him, associating with Him, and they attain Prem. That's by mercy. So, the examples include Sugriv, Vibhishan, Jatayu, Bali Maharaj, the wives of the Yagic Brahmanas. They were not doing any sadhana, but somehow they met the Lord in His Leela, and by His excessive mercy they attained. So, this Prem also, which is coming from the mercy of the Lord, is of two types. Mahatma Gyan Yukta, imbued with knowledge of Krishna's Godhood. Mahatma Gyan Yukta. And Kevala Prem. That Kevala means unadulterated. So it indicates that it's just love without any knowledge that Krishna is God at all. So if a person has Mahatma Gyan Yukta Prem, then they attain the position in Vaikuntha. But only Krishna of Vrindavan is the object of Kevala Prem. So then, finally, just to complete the eastern portion of the ocean. Now we finished 1/4 of the ocean. Srila Rupa Goswami just gives 2 verses to show the stages, the sequence in which one attains Prem. Ado Sradha Tatha Sadhu Sangata Padana Kriya Tato Natani Vritisya Tato Nishta Ruchistata Tata Saktis Tata Bhavas Tata Premadi Abhyudachati Sadakanam Ayam Prema Pradubhavi Bhavat Kramaha. Prem is achieved in this sequence. Ado Sradha, in the beginning, by association with sadhus, one attains faith. And then, after that, he again associates with sadhus for the specific purpose of hearing Shastra and learning about Krishna and how to attain. So there are 2 types of sadhu sangha, that which comes before developing faith, and by that one develops faith, and then that which takes place after developing faith, which is very done with the intention of learning the teachings of the Vedas and how to attain Krishna.
И эта вера является результатом общения с садху, со святым. После этого, когда вера в сердце человека уже зарождается, он начинает намеренно общаться с садху и слушать ведическое знание от него для того, чтобы обрести эту прему.
So this Shraddha is Sadhana Shabde Vishwas Kohi Sudhira Nishtay. It's a strong confidence and trust that just by serving Krishna, all other obligations have been fulfilled.
Такая шахта является уже твердой уверенностью в том, что лишь служа Кришне, я выполняю все остальные обязанности.
Then Bhajana Kriya. He engages in the activities of devotion.
Это деятельность преданного служения.
Oh, the music has stopped. The chakra has returned. So, Bhajana Kriya, Nato Bhajanam. Srila Vishnu Thakur said, these are activities of devotion, but it's not actually bhajan in that stage. Some people think they can do manasik seva in the stage of bhajana kriya. But Vishnu Thakur says, no, bhajana kriya, not to bhajana. Only the outer activities.
Многие люди ошибочно думают, что на уровне бхажана крии могут совершать усилия с маном, но это совершенно не так. Это просто внешняя видимость деятельности бхактины, по факту не является истинной бхажаной.
Then, anatha-nivritti, unwanted desires, internal obstacles, offenses are gradually destroyed.
Анатха-нивритти процесс очищения сердца, постепенное исчезновение дурных привычек, осквернение сердца, мирских желаний.
This leads to nishta.
Это приводит, в свою очередь, к ниште.
So here, nishta means continuous engagement in devotion without becoming confused.
Ништа подразумевает непрерывная погруженность в практику бхакти без всяких ложных идей и заблуждений.
If you sometimes become confused, then the nishta is not there yet.
Если вы иногда оказываетесь в перелистовку и находитесь в заблуждении и непонимании, то это показывает то, что вы находитесь на уровне ништы.
Then, when bhakti is practiced continuously without confusion, one comes to stage of ruchi.
Когда бхакти совершается непрерывно,
Ruchi means
история приводит постепенно к уровню ручи.
Ruchi means abhilas.
Ручи означает абхиласа.
When you engage in hearing chanting, then this strong abhilas, desire for the Lord appears.
Когда вы погружены в совершение бхакти, постепенно проявляется абхиласа, сильное желание.
But it is buddhi purvaka. First, your intelligence tells you, I will hear and chant, and then the abhilas appears. But then when asakti comes, then this abhilas is swarasiki, natural.
Вот это абхиласа пристекло, чтобы сильное желание, оно все-таки подчиняется диктовке интеллекта ума. То есть вначале вы хотите, будем пурвака, вначале вы понимаете, что надо это практиковать, потом появляется желание. Но на уровне асакти это абхиласа, желание уже спонтанное.
So then when sadhana bhakti is practiced in the stage of bhav, in asakti, then the nitya siddha bhav, eternally perfect, transcendental, internal potency of the Lord, melts the heart.
Затем, когда преданный практикует садхана на уровне садхана бхакти, на уровне асакти, постепенно уже его шакти Господа не сходит сердце.
And when it melts more and becomes more condensed, then it turns into Krishna.
Сердце начинает таять, и когда сердце уже полностью расплавлено, это уже уровень Кришна Према.
So, this is a summary, really, of the first, all the waves in the first quadrant of the ocean.
Это итог в первой четверти, в восточной четверти океана Бхакти-расы.
So, now Srila Rupa Goswami said, when this prem arises in the heart of a person who is very fortunate, that person's behavior is very difficult to understand.
И Шрила Рупа Госвами объясняет, что когда эта према появляется в сердце удачливого человека, то его поведение становится совершенно непонятным всем.
Lord Shiva said, O Goddess Parvati, the person who is mad with love of the Lord is absorbed in the highest bliss. He does not know anything about his own personal happiness or distress.
Шрила объясняет Парвати богиня, когда человек погружен в любовь к Кришне, он совершенно забывает о себе. Он погружен в такой неописуемый экстаз любви к Кришне.
Why? Because his happiness is only pleasing the Lord, and his distress is when he cannot please the Lord.
У него не остается личного счастья или личной печали, потому что его счастье – это угодить Господу, а его печаль – это невозможность служить Ему.
His happiness is when he attains his Lord, and when he cannot, then he feels pain of separation.
Когда преданный видит Господа, может служить Ему, он испытывает неописуемую радость. И когда он лишается в видении Господа, он испытывает неописуемую печаль.
His happiness and distress related to the Lord is actually just two types of ecstasy.
И так как его
so he doesn't know any happiness.
И радость, и печаль, они уже трансцендентные, потому что они полностью связаны с Господом. А личных мирских печалей и радости у него нет как таковых.
So, it is said, Jotadeka Vaishnavera Vyavahara Duk Nistajanyasai Parananda Suk. Whenever you see in this world that the Vaishnava who has prem is suffering, you should know that this so-called suffering that they're going through, Srila Bhaktivinoda Baba Maharaj used to say, oh, it is Abhinay. Abhinay means if there's a dancer on the stage doing various mudras indicating their emotions, but it's just a drama. So in the same way, the happiness and distress of the devotee in Prem, happiness and distress of the devotee in Prem is only for show, related to this world.
Имеете дело с очень возвышенным вайшнавом, то его радости и переживания по поводу чего-то происходящего в этом мире, это всего лишь драма, это просто притворство, как будто бы драма, ну, как танцор на сцене изображает эмоции мудрые.
If one will project the conception of material happiness and distress onto the transcendentally situated Vaishnava, then one will commit offense.
То есть, если вы будете проецировать свое понимание, какие-то идеи, связанные с мирского страдания или счастья на возвышенного Вайшнава, то вы тем самым совершите оскорбление.
Yasya sakshat bhagavati jnana deepa pradegaro matya sadvi sutam tasya kunjaram eva sochavat. The Guru who gives transcendental knowledge is a direct manifestation of the Lord.
Guru, который наделяет трансцендентным знанием, является непосредственным проявлением Господа.
Matya asadhi. If one maintains a materialistic conception towards Sri Guru, then all of his study of the Vedas becomes like the bathing of an elephant. Waste of time.
Если вы знаете такую личность с мирского ракурса, навязываете какие-то свои проекции логики, то ваше изучение вед подобно овению слона. То есть вы моетесь и потом опять запачкаетесь тут же через секунду.
So Srila Jiva Goswami gives a very beautiful verse spoken by the four Kumaras.
Jiva Goswami процитирует прекрасный стих, слова четырех кумаров.
After the four Kumaras, they had darshan of Supreme Lord. They became overwhelmed with Him.
После того, как четверо кумаров узрели Верховного Господа, они преисполнились радости.
They said, oh my Lord, we pray that you will let us be born in any hellish condition of life, in the hellish planets or in lower species.
Мы молим Тебя, чтобы Ты дал нам возможность оказаться в каких-то адских условиях, хоть на адских планетах или в каких-то ужасных обстоятельствах.
Just as long as our hearts and minds are always engaged in service to your lotus feet.
Главное условие, чтобы наши умы и наши сердца всегда были поглощены тобой, служением Тебе и послушанием Тебе.
Oh, and just as tulsi leaves become so beautiful when they offer to your lotus feet, may our words become beautiful by describing you.
И подобно тому, как листики тулси становятся необычайно красивыми после того, как они предложены Тебе, пусть наши слова станут прекрасными после того, как они выражают Твою славу.
We don't mind going to hell as long as our ears are always filled with the chanting of your transcendental qualities.
Нас не страшит оказаться в аду, но главное, чтобы наши уши всегда были наполнены нектаром прославления в Твой адрес.
So this verse indicates these two features of praying.
Этот стих несет в себе вот эти две характеристики, две составляющих према.
See, try to feel it.
Постарайтесь прочувствовать это.
When we hear a verse like this, oh my Lord, let me even be born in hell, then we think of hell and suffering.
Когда мы слышим такие слова, Господь, да если даже я рожусь, получу рождение в аду, мы сразу начинаем думать про ад, страдания.
But what is the actual sentiment in these words?
Каково истинное настроение этого стиха?
Bhavasa eva sabdratva. That the four Kumaras, they're experiencing such condensed bliss that they say, oh, let us go to hell. Who needs liberation? It's actually an expression of their ecstasy, their great happiness.
Не то, что они там просятся в ад или воспринимают ад, как мы в аду думаем. Просто это описание вот такого возмущенного экстаза, что что говорит, зачем нам освобождение, нам вообще ничего не нужно.
Now they've received Prem, they feel such joy, they're criticizing liberation. Who cares for liberation? Let's go to hell.
Вот это сердце эту Прему, теперь освобождением кажется настолько ненужным, настолько жалким.
And it also indicates the other aspect of Prem, that one who has this love does not know anything about his own happiness or distress related to himself, only to the Lord. So if he's in hell, he doesn't even know.
В этой молитве, это то, что человек уже не думает о собственной радости и печали. Какая ему разница, где он в аду или что? Ему главное, чтобы у него была возможность служить Богу.
So now we have completed the eastern quadrant of the ocean. Now we come to the southern section.
Мы уже завершили на этом восточную четверть океана и переходим к южной.
So the southern section is defining the components of rasa.
Rasa-Samagri. Ингредиенты расы, компоненты расы.
Please don't translate only into Sanskrit. Translate also into Russian. So the first wave is concerning vibhav. This first ingredient of rasa. So, but at first, Srila Rupa Goswami give an overview of all the ingredients, so you can have some idea of what this thing called the rasa is, at least in theory. So he's saying, this southern section will describe how rati, that is this foundational bhav, in one of the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. So, how that becomes rasa by being nourished by the other 4 ingredients. So his description is very eloquent. He said, Samagri pariposhena parama rasa rupata. That the sthayi bhav, parama rasa rupata, attains the rup, the form of parama rasa, supreme taste. How? Samagri pariposhena, by the nourishment of the other 4 ingredients. So, now we come to our verse for today. Can you see it? You can check it there for a minute. So this verse is important. I want devotees to learn it. Because it's describing, just as in the first quadrant of the ocean, the subject of adhikar, or eligibility, who's qualified for Vaidhi Bhakti, who's qualified for Raganuga Bhakti. So similarly, now there's a discussion of the eligibility, who's qualified to experience rasa.
Подобно тому, как перед обсуждением глав первой четверти, восточной четверти Према-Бхакти расы шла речь о квалификации, кто квалифицирован на Вайди Бхакти, кто квалифицирован на Рaganuga Бхакти. Тут написано, кто квалифицирован на расу.
So you can repeat. Prakthan aduniki chasti yasya sad bhakti vasana Esha bhakti rasasvadas tasyaiva vidijayate. So the meaning is, the taste for bhakti rasa arises in the heart of a person who has the samskars, impressions of experiences of pure bhakti in the present life and in the previous life.
Вкус к расе, бхакти расе возникает в сердце человека, у которого уже
существуют самскары.
So here,
Чистого бхакти из этой жизни и из прошлой жизни.
the word yasya means of whom
Ясья чья,
sad bhakti vasana,
бхакти
who
васана.
has the vasanas.
Тот, у кого уже есть васана.
Actually, vasana means a desire that arises from a sanskar. In the Yoga Sutras it is said, as is the sanskar, so is the vasana.
Васана — это желание, которое является результатом самскара, впечатлений, которые уже существуют в сознании. То есть в Йога-сутра говорится, каковы самскары, таковы и желания, помыслы.
Sanskar and vasana, they often used interchangeably. The sanskar is the impression in the heart, and then when that impression rises into your consciousness, it makes you desire in a way, in accordance with that previous impression.
Активная форма самскара. Самскара — это впечатление, заложенное уже в сознании, и когда оно всплывает из подсознания в сознание, то появляется желание, то есть мы начинаем действовать, чтобы исполнить.
So here, this vasana, this impression is sad bhakti vasana.
Но тут вот эта васана, о которой идет речь, это сад бхакти васана.
So sad means eternal bhakti, so that means it's the impression of nitya siddha bhav. It's the impression of rati. From the previous from.
То есть речь идет уже о нити бхави, то есть речь идет о человеке, у которого уже была бхава рати в прошлой жизни.
So the word praktan,
Практан,
praktani means ancient.
практани — это значит древний.
So literally it means, in this context, it means not this life but previous life. From before.
То есть это уже из прошлого должно присутствовать у человека, то есть раньше у него уже должно было быть до этой жизни.
Praktan doesn't mean ancient, sorry, it means before.
Практани значит не древний, а предыдущее.
And adunik means literally modern. Now, adun means now.
Адун — это настоящее, то есть современное.
So,
Теперешнее.
cha means and.
Ча значит
And asti, there is.
и существует.
So, of that person who has the impressions of bhav, which are from the previous life and also this life, then tasyaiva, of him certainly, bhakti rasasvadas, there is the taste of bhakti rasa.
То есть для человека только тот сможет почувствовать бхакти расу, у которого есть прошлый опыт, чувство бхавы и настоящий опыт в этой жизни.
Now the point here is this: if a person meets Guru in this life,
Например, если человек встречает гуру в этой жизни,
they do Guru Padashray,
совершит гуру падашрай,
they take complete shelter and follow his instructions,
полное принятие лотосных стоп гуру и следование его наставлениям,
practicing bhakti in Vaishnava association,
и практика бхакти во всеми их преданными.
then in this life
В этой жизни
they can receive the sanskars, impressions of rati.
человек может получить самскары рати.
However, in that life they will not be able to taste bhakti rasa,
Но все равно в этой жизни он не сможет вкусить бхакти расу.
because the word cha is there, and you need impressions of rati from the previous life. So that person in the next life, they will have in the next life the impressions of bhav, and when they're meditating they can also discover the impressions from the previous life inside their chitta.
То есть потому что слово в определении ча требует присутствия фактора предыдущего опыта. А так как это, если это первая жизнь рати, то человек не сможет вкусить бхакти расу, то есть уже надо ждать следующей жизни, и в следующей жизни, что он продолжает активно, корректно духовно развиваться, то тогда вот эти уже предыдущие самскары бхавы и его самскары в следующей жизни помогут ему вкусить бхакти расу.
So the implication is this, that just a little rati will not be enough to bring about the taste of rasa. It has to be intense. So the intense experience of rati, it will lead to rasa, but that takes at least one life and the next life to develop.
Это требование возможности вкушения бхакти расы, что не хватает небольшого опыта рати, не хватит на то, чтобы вкусить бхакти расу. Должен быть хотя бы растянуться на пару жизней этот опыт, чтобы позволить, чтобы насыпь стать настолько интенсивным, чтобы у человека появилась возможность вкушать бхакти-расу.
Now, please hear the very beautiful description how the devotee comes to taste bhakti-rasa.
Выслушайте прекрасное описание того, как преданный приступает к вкушению бхакти-расы.
Bhakti-nirduta doshanam prasanna-jvala cetasam Sri Bhagavat Rakthanam Rasika Sangaranginam Jiva Bhuta Govinda Pada Bhakti Sukasriyam Premantaranga Bhutani Krityani Vanutishtatam Bhaktanam Ridirajanti Sanskara Yugalujjvala Varathirananda Rupaiva Niyamana Turasyatam Krishnani Devi Bhavatya Gataan Anubhavadvani Praudananda Chamatkara Kastam Apadyate Param. It means the devotee who is Bhaktini Duta Doshanam, all the faults in his consciousness they've been washed away by engagement in devotional service. Prasanna Ujjvala Chetasam, and his chitta, his consciousness became prasanna, full of joy, and Ujjvala, shining. So here, this means Shuddha Sattva Visheshatva. Because prasanna, full of joy, is Ladini Vritti. And Ujjvala, illuminated in Samvrit. So that person, you can consider how qualified they are. Heart is pure, shining with joy and very effulgent. Sri Bhagavata Rakthanam, they are very attached to Srimad Bhagavatam. Because of hearing so much and taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam in the previous life. Rasika Sangas Branginam, and their life is just to find pleasure, meeting with Rasik Vaishnavas and discussing Bhagavatam. Jivani Govinda Pada Bhakti Sukasriyam, their whole life and soul is just the happiness that they find in serving the lotus feet of Govinda from devotional activities. Premantaranga Bhutani Katyani Evanutistatam, and they derive great happiness from hearing, chanting, remembering, because their engagement in bhakti is imbued with the internal potency, with the mercy of the Lord. So that describes how they're doing their practice so far. Now they're the assisting factors. Bhattanam Ridirajanti Sanskara Yugal Ujjvala. Their heart is illuminated by two types of samskars. That means Praktan and Adulik. Then their rati becomes excessively relishable. So those persons, they experience this rasa, which is filled with wonder and astonishment. They attain the highest peak of profound bliss by experiencing Krishnani Devi Bhavadya Gata Anubhava Dhvani. by experiencing the other four samagris nourishing their rati. Now the word anubhava dhvani, advani means path. So anubhav means realization. The point here is that one can only experience ras by having the internal realization of the different ingredients. You cannot experience rasa by becoming an expert poet and by just learning the theory of rasa. It has to be anubhav, realization of the ingredients.
Тут главное требование, чтобы тут были внутренние реализации раса. То есть невозможно стать расиком, просто изучив теорию досконально, все подробности. Тут необходимо это внутренне все ощущать.
Now, kintu prema vibhavatyai swapan nito pyani niyasim vibhavanatyavastam tu sadya aswadyatam prajet. However, when Prem becomes slightly pleasurable by the mixture of the different ingredients, it quickly turns into rasa, becomes fully tasteful. So here, Srila Rupa Goswami is explaining another difference between the stage of bhava and the stage of prem. That very long explanation that we just given, how rati becomes tasteful and turns into rasa, is the devotee who is in the stage of bhava, gradually coming to the point of experience of rasa. He has to meditate. He has to search out the sanskars of this life and previous life. And he perceives the ingredients separately. And then gradually they combine together and it rasa.
Выискивает эти самскары по отдельности, воспринимает эти ингредиенты, постепенно они соединяются, смешиваются, и он ощущает этот поток радости от вкуса бхакти расы.
So sometimes people wonder, is there experience of rasa in the stage of bhava? The answer is yes, but it's slight and it takes some time to manifest.
Пытаются понять, существует ли восприятие бхакти расы на уровне бхавы? Да, но поэтапно происходит, и оно не настолько сильное.
But when samyam masunita santo mamatati shantita bhava saeva sandatma budai prema nigatiti. When prem comes, there's just by a little touch of vibhava, the different ingredients, then it at once instantly turns into relishment of rasa.
Легчайшего прикосновения какого-то ингредиента расы, тут же он испытывает бхакти расу.
So these are, you can note down that these are some of the difference between the state of bhava and prema.
Можете записать, что это снова различие между уровнем бхавы и према.
In bhava, there can be some obstacles.
На уровне бхавы остается клеши, немножко препятствий.
Some shadow of experience of suffering, but in prem, no, he has no idea he can go to hell and he's interested.
Есть тень, воспоминания о бывших страданиях. На уровне према никаких страданий, никаких клешей нет, ему безразлично, где он в аду, где он там.
In bhava, the heart has become soft, but in prem, it's completely dull.
На уровне бхавы сердце мягкое, но на уровне према оно просто уже расплавилось.
In prem, there is excessive mamata.
В преме уже чрезвычайная мама, чувство обладания лишним присутствует.
And in bhava, there's a gradual process by which the devotee can, in a limited degree, experience rasa, but in prem, just by a touch of the vibhav, because this chapter is now about vibhav, a touch of the vibhav, oh, then all the ingredients appear and at once it turns into rasa. So these are some of the differences between the stage of bhava.
различие между Бхавой и Премой.
Remember all these things. This question will be in your examination. What is the difference between Bhava? Give you a clue. So now, Srila Rupa Goswami is coming on to the subject. What is the first ingredient? Lord Premanande, Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki, Srila Rupa Goswami Pare ki, Jai Gauri Namaste.